Hi, Danielle. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
All right. My first question for you is how does a hairdresser become a corporate CFO? What landed you in that seat?
Yeah, now this isn't the map for any hairdresser to become a CFO, but this is my story. So I originally fell in love with the numbers back when I was working as a hairstylist. And I realized that I was really good at using the numbers to help reach my goals and the goals of the salon and then the girls around me. And I found out that I was the only one who could help them answer questions about their paycheck, their commission structure, and how to reach their goals. And I didn't realize it at the time. I had taken a major detour. I had went back to school because I actually wanted to open up my own hair salon. So I had entrepreneurship on the brain. Never thought I'd own an accounting firm. So I went to school to learn entrepreneurship and ended up studying for my CPA, getting my master's degree in accounting and finance, and then working in corporate. And what I found myself doing again is helping people use their numbers to hit their goals, to make data-driven decisions, and to grow as individuals and business owners.
So, how have you then taken all of that experience, all of your time working with these corporate executives, and then built this framework, this structure to then be able to apply it to your clients at Kickstart?
Yeah. So, although I think as creatives, we think that we're very different and that the way that we think is very different. However, a little dirty secret is that we're not all that different from the corporate executives that I was sitting in the boardroom with. We all need to digest financial information in a simple way that helps us, that allows us to be able to make critical business decisions and to be able to set goals for the future. And what I did after my time in corporate was I took everything that I learned from partnering with my CEO, the board of directors, the management team. And now look, I'm one of those people who I didn't leave corporate because I hated it. I actually loved what I did. I loved the people that I worked with. And what I did was I wanted to take all the best parts of that. Like what were the things that we were doing that actually worked, right? Like that were meaningful and moved the needle. And I left all the corporate garbage and the things that only the board wanted or the things that only that management team wanted, like, right? Like I left all that that bullshit behind and I let them keep it. And so I took the best parts and created the framework that then allows creatives and small business owners to be able to digest the information and to be able to use the same information in the same meaningful way that they did. And I think what I didn't realize at the time when I started Kickstart was how passionate that I would become about really bringing access to this information to underprivileged people, right? Like women typically did not have access to this type of information historically, and they didn't know how to get it. They didn't have a space to be able to kind of raise their hand and say, I don't get it. I don't know what you're talking about. And here at Kickstart, through our framework, they don't feel judged like somebody's talking down on them. They have a true partner to celebrate the wins, to commiserate the losses, and to be able to ask those questions that they feel unworthy or silly asking in other rooms.
Yeah, I think that's a big piece of the Kickstart puzzle is, our core values. And we truly are a purpose driven organization. So like one kudos to you to bringing that here. And I can speak on that as a Kickstart team member of almost 3 years as of next
Yeah, it's
month,
crazy.
which like is crazy to think about. Um, but it's something that we keep at the forefront of our team is some of the more disappointing and sad statistics about women in business and how our services, especially our new CFO service, can disrupt the disparity.
Yeah, it is. so disappointing to hear that there are more women who are starting businesses, but they're less likely to hit six figures, and they're even less likely to hit 1 million. And I think a big reason for that is the idea that as women, we have to wear the cape, the superhero cape, and we have to do it all ourselves, and that we can't ask for help. And so Kickstart is a way to be able to say, hey, one, I need help. Two, I shouldn't be the one doing this, right? Like, I don't know how to do it. I'm not good at it. I need to stay in my zone of genius. I need my time and energy to do other things to run and grow this business. And by being able to take bookkeeping, tax preparation, and now forecasting off of their plate, it really sets these women up for success so that they're not part of one of these disappointing statistics.
Yeah. I feel like I get like goosebumps every time I hear that statistic. Like it's, and I hear it a lot. We talk about it a lot. Um, so it really is that judgment free zone and just the opportunity to ask questions and someone to tell you that you don't have to do it. Like we're telling you not to do your bookkeeping. Like you should not
Yeah.
be doing it. Hire somebody, like get a team, get your money team, get yourself together. And so I guess segueing into our big topic and the big goal of this episode is, another money team member. So Danielle, do you want to share with the listeners what exactly is a CFO and what are CFO services?
Yeah. So a CFO is an abbreviation for Chief Financial Officer. And the Chief Financial Officer typically in a larger business is the person who is setting the strategy and the direction of the company. Now, in smaller businesses, this is a little bit different because as the CEO, you are really the true visionary. So, all of my business owners out there, you're really the visionary of your business. However, your CFO will help take your vision, your goals of where you want to see your business, and help you create that detailed map forward, right? It's going to show you where you're going and what you need to spend financially. What are the opportunities, the strengths, the weaknesses, the threats in your business? How do we use all of those tools to create the map for success to ultimately hit those goals? So, a little bit different than how you would hear CFO at a large company, but I think is something that as we've worked with growing business owners, we hear a need over and over and over again, right? Bookkeeping helps me look at what just happened. Right? I have a really great, amazing picture of my financial statements. Our clients receive their financial snapshot. We have this beautiful picture in time, but it's static, right? Like it stops there. And having a CFO allows you to take that picture in time and start to be able to look forward.
So it really is that ability to be able to transform the data, the visions of the CEO, and take it and create the roadmap leading forward.
Yep, exactly.
Right. So who needs a CFO?
Now, I think what's really important to understand is that the CFO role, because you hear that term thrown around in big business, right? You think that this is a big role only for big companies. And I really want everyone who's listening and every client, everybody who is a small business owner to understand that you deserve to have this in your business, right? If you have dreams of growing your business, if you have dreams of scaling your business, but you don't know how to do that on your own, or you don't have the accountability, or maybe you have the dream of the vision of what it looks like, but you don't know how to get the details, the numbers of how to fund it, how to manage the debt, how to spend accordingly. Like, these are all the things that as a CFO, they're going to help you paint that beautiful picture They're going to create that map for you so that you know how to very clearly how to strategically lead you and your team. So this isn't about big companies. This is about our small business owners who are just ready to look forward. I'm specifically not giving you a revenue amount. I actually think that this is even, I, I think that this can also be a great opportunity for somebody who's a solopreneur. Right? It's all about the mindset of being ready to take that snapshot in time and to look forward.
All right. So really the key marker of when you need a CFO is your mindset.
Yes, mindset and commitment.
Mhm. So can you walk me through some of the benefits of outsourcing a CFO? Like you said, this is a role in a lot of big companies. So how do small businesses access this?
So I think the way that I have historically, and the reason that we really wanted to do this for our clients, historically, we've heard the term fractional CFO. So it was a person who maybe was a CFO for several different companies, but they came in and they took a larger role in your business. They generally don't take on a lot of clients, and they don't have a framework, right? Like they're just really doing what you need them to do, and you're still guiding that process, right? So a fractional CFO, although they have the expertise, they're still looking for you as the visionary to point the way of where they're going and what they're looking at. Whereas what I have found is that most visionaries don't know what they're looking at, right? Like, how do you, who has never worked as a CFO, right? Like, you don't know much about finances. How do you help guide that individual? We use our signature CFO framework to guide our clients so that they're really showing up to the calls ready, committed, doing any homework that we gave them, but not necessarily having to direct the calls or to direct the actual activities. We're guiding them through that framework so that they really feel supported and know that they have that accountability.
Right. So we are truly bringing the expertise and the guidance and the framework so that as the business owner, really you just have to be committed and show up and be ready.
Absolutely.
All right. So can you walk me through a little bit of what our signature framework entails?
So, as I mentioned, this is really a guide forward. So, the first step is looking at who you are personally. And this is really important. And again, I think something that most CFOs and accountants forget about is that as business owners, we're also people, right? Like people, we have families, we have dreams. And so the first few calls is looking at who are you, like you, actually, you individually, and where do you see your life going? Are you a young mother who is going to be putting their kids through college, where it's really important for you to be taking owner's draws and reasonable compensation over the next few years because you are growing wealth for your family to be able to support them? Is your husband working in the business? Does your husband have a a position outside the home in which helps carry some of the bills, right? Like, does the home need your business income and at what level? So it's really looking at who you are as a person and what you and your family need from a personal budget and personal goal setting. Now, we're not a financial advisor, so it's not going out and planning for retirement and looking at building wealth. We're not investing for you, but we're getting to know who you are as a person so that we understand your personal goals.
So this is really a holistic approach to something that is normally very only business focused. So I think it's very important to go back and think to why you started your business. I mean, a lot of our clients started their business for different reasons. Maybe they love what they're doing. Maybe they did it to support their family. So that holistic approach, I think, is very different from the way a traditional CFO or a fractional CFO would approach this.
There is nothing tactical about Kickstart. Everything that we do is very holistic because that's how we're able to make an impact. That's how we help business owners. So that's step one is personal, right? Let's look at where you're going personally. Step two is let's look at where you've been. Financially, what have you learned, right? All of us have a money personality type. All of us have had spending stories. We've all had a history. And before we start moving forward into your budget, we need to know what's happened and why, right? Like you might be a keeper where you're hoarding all of your money. And I'm over here trying to encourage you to spend money to hit your goals. And when you keep on not doing that, rather than me getting frustrated, like, what's happened? We put together the budget. Why aren't you spending? It'll be really important for us to understand, well, your money personality type is a keeper. And so we need to balance spending and saving so that it feels right for you and your business. So next step is to look backwards, find out who you are from a money personality standpoint. From there, we're going to start looking forward again, right? Just we need to learn some lessons before we can move forward again. From there, we're doing a SWOT analysis. So strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. This is one of my favorite things that we do on a very regular basis at Kickstart. I get really excited about the opportunities, but it's so important that we're not closing our eyes to the threats. So it's really important. And I think sometimes as visionaries, we'll say we want to grow the business, right? Like I'm going to grow the business. Okay, but how? And the SWOT analysis allows us to really figure out what are those opportunities and what's going to keep us from hitting those opportunities or pursuing them.
Yeah, a SWOT analysis is such a good tool because it truly does look at things from every angle in a simplified way. So if you're someone who has a hard time recognizing your strengths, like that can be a hard exercise. But it's good to like give yourself a pat on the back sometimes, recognize what you're doing really well so you can keep doing more of it.
Well, that's why you need to do it with somebody else. So could you do these things on your own? Sure. You know what I mean? Do you, could you implement some of these strategies on your own? Absolutely. But having that person who's going to ask you the tough questions, who's going to push you and really have that brainstorming session with you, that's what makes this meaningful, right? That's what going through this framework with somebody creates the power. And then once we have that, this is where it kind of gets my juices going because I love this detailed part. Like I'm truly analytical. This is where we start building the custom budget. And this is an annual budget. This is like, I want to be clear. It's a custom budget to you. And I think when we hear budget, we automatically hear cost cutting. It is not a cost cutting strategy because we're going to take the goals that we discussed in our sessions before that, and we're going to help you map to those goals. And so having a spending strategy is really important. And this custom budget that we walk you through, this is really unique to how we work with our clients at Kickstart. And it's something that you have tangibly in front of you. So when you come off of this call, you have a tangible budget that you can touch and feel. Now, most clients don't ever actually open the document alone because it can be overwhelming. However, it is something that you can refer back to, you can see, and it's something tangible that you have. And again, this is something that is really important that you're doing with somebody so that you have that accountability and someone to talk through each and every line item of your budget. We'll get back to the show in 1 second, but real quick, are you a business owner feeling overwhelmed by your finances? Do you find yourself wishing you had more control and understanding over your money? Managing your business finances can often feel like navigating a ship through a storm without a compass. But what if instead you could master your business finances in just 5 days? With the confidence to manage your money, make informed decisions for financial stability, and implement strategies to increase your profitability effortlessly. And that's exactly why the 5-day video bootcamp was created. It's a comprehensive course designed to empower you with the foundations for financial success. Throughout the bootcamp, you'll learn the foundations, how to manage costs for profitability, evaluate investments for growth, and avoid common financial pitfalls. So if you're ready to take charge of your financial journey and rewrite your success story, head over to esuite.co/5-day bootcamp or click the link in the show notes and sign up for the bootcamp today. Okay, back to the show. A budget is nothing if we don't actually compare our progress to the budget. So from there, on a monthly basis, you receive the budget to actual. It's one thing to receive the report, but it's another thing to actually talk about it, to be able to get on a call and say, what happened, right? Like, I didn't hit my goals. What happened? Or I hit them. Like, yes, I get to celebrate. I have something to celebrate with. What worked? So having that budget to actual comparison is so important. And then here is the piece that I think most CFOs and people don't do. And my old boss would hate this, and I love it. It is the reforecast, because I think things are constantly changing in business. And so looking at the budget and then the reforecast. If we thought that we were going to start spending on paid ads in January, but the consultant wasn't ready, they dragged their feet, and now things didn't get approved until March 1st. And so if you have sales in your static budget that doesn't move in April, and the ads didn't ever even started, right? Like they didn't even have a chance to compound yet. You have to reforecast that. So it's not a one and done exercise. That's why we have calls on a regular basis with our clients, because we want to check in to say, oh, okay, fine. The consultant, they got a late start. No big deal. We get it. It takes time to ramp up. Let's reforecast this out so that we can see what this is going to look like in the course of 12 months or of this year, and then in a rolling 12 months, so that we can see the impact of making those changes.
Yeah, I think that truly it takes the surprise out of it, because you may love surprises, but I guarantee you will not like surprises on your P&L at the end of the year. So staying in touch with that is so important.
Yeah. And then there's a piece about debt planning. A lot of our clients come back to us and say, yeah, the P&L is great, right? So maybe we forecasted sales and expenses, but we didn't forecast cash. And that's, again, why this framework for the CFO, that's why the CFO framework is so important, because we're not just looking at the P&L. We're also looking at what are the owner's draws you're taking, the personal expenses, and the debt payments. These are all balance sheet items. Your bookkeeper's taking care of them. They're on the balance sheet. They're where they're supposed to go. You're not seeing them on the profit and loss statement. So we really have to make sure that when we're working with our clients, we make sure that we're taking into consideration the cash impact of the entire picture. And if that client has debt, making a plan to bring down that debt in a strategic way. Not setting unrealistic expectations. It's not going to be paid off in 3 years or 3 months. It might not even be paid off in 3 years, but planning on how are we going to grow this business so that we can pay this debt off over time. And then the last piece is KPIs. So you guys have heard me talk about key performance indicators. I try to end most podcast episodes with some KPIs for clients to, like when we did the hiring series, if you're hiring, we left you some KPIs to monitor as you are hiring those team members. So these KPIs that we offer are customized to your goals. So you'll have a set of 5 KPIs that are related back to your goals: owner's draws and expenses, owner's salary, client acquisition costs, the amount of spending on ads for sales, fixed versus variable costs, overheads. I can go on and on. Whatever is related to your goals, creating that KPI dashboard so that you have a visualized chart to be able to monitor them month over month over month. So again, this CFO framework isn't a one and done. It's not a budget and you go. This framework is where we're going to hold your hand and have calls with you every other week to talk about the budget, to talk about the forecast, to talk about the KPIs, to walk through your mindset and what you need. And that's why we said at the beginning, this is only the right service for somebody who's committed, because you need to be on those calls. You need to answer our questions. We need to be committed to our goals. We need to be committed to having that intimate relationship and that partnership. And so, if you're not committed, right, then having the CFO framework is not the right place for you.
Yeah, this is definitely an area where it's an investment into your business. It's an investment of your time, but with the goal being that you will gain it back over time. Like as you grow your business, as you are able to make those key hires, as you are able to grow and learn, you're going to gain that time back. But it does take that upfront commitment.
Absolutely.
And it is long term. We, Rome wasn't built in a night. It it's going to take time. It's going to take patience. There's going to be some discomfort. I also don't want to gloss over the fact that this is not going to be easy.
When we're looking at our numbers, running a business just isn't easy. It's not easy in any way, but especially when we're looking at our numbers, it's not easy. But here's what I'll say. The clients who commit, and this is both from the bookkeeping perspective and CFO framework, when you commit to knowing your numbers, you can show up in an empowered way. It allows you to be able to pour into your team, your clients, to really be able to see into your future and your family's future. So just can't encourage people enough to really lean into that discomfortability. But the biggest thing, I want to remind people that we always have to have the foundation set first. So you guys have heard me say over and over again that bookkeeping is the vehicle for helping business owners understand their numbers. Without bookkeeping, you can't file your taxes. Without bookkeeping, you can't look forward. You can't use the strategic CFO framework. We always have to have bookkeeping first so that we have the strong foundation, because then we can build thereafter.
Right. You can't build a mansion on a mudslide. So
Yes.
you have to have the strong foundation. And then you can build whatever you want on top of it.
Yeah.
So can you tell me just like some highlights of what the deliverables are? I know we talked about the framework, but like give us some tangibles.
Yeah. So on top of the bookkeeping and receiving the financial statements, all as part of our CFO framework, you'll still get the financial snapshot, because that is always important. But there's additional KPIs and a more detailed snapshot that also includes your budget to actual, your forecast for the next 12 months, and the KPIs that are laid out in I like to call it like a beautiful chart, right? Like so many of us are creatives. We like to see things visually, and having those charts of the different KPIs, metrics, and forecasts really help put this difficult topic in an easy to read format. So similar to how we do with the snapshot for our bookkeeping clients, it's similar to that, but at a more detailed level, and includes the budget and the forecast. So we're, again, always looking forward.
So it's taking a lot of the things that we're already doing and putting it on steroids.
Yes. Yes. It's taking what we're doing and looking forward, right? Because bookkeeping is that static in time. So the snapshot is just that, right? Like we're taking a picture, a snapshot in time. Whereas the CFO is a projection forward, a map and finding momentum in the forward direction. And so you need both. Both are important, but gosh, the power together, it's huge.
So now, what do our clients need to do? Or if one of our listeners is so excited hearing this, what's next?
So if you go to kickstartaccountinginc.com/CFO and not just learn more, right? Like I want you to go and actually book the call, like do it right now at this moment. Go book a call so that we can make sure that we're the right fit for each other. I'm just so excited to be able to bring this forward. I have been very passionate about bookkeeping and what we do, but obviously, I believe that every business owner and every woman should not just have access to the historical data, but we should also have access to the data to map us to the future. And I encourage you that you are enough. Your business is big enough, whether you're a mighty team of one or many, you are enough. And yes, this is for you.
Yes.
All right, Victoria, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I have a favor to ask. If you have gotten any value from this show and you want the show to continue to grow and keep providing you with strategies for financial growth and efficiency, simply leave us a rating and review if you're listening on Apple or Spotify. Those reviews really go a long way in attracting more listeners, and honestly, they really make my day. So if you're feeling up to it, we'd love to see a rating and review from you. Either way, thanks so much for listening to the show.